Hello and welcome to News Central Television. I am Likon Onabanjo. The top stories at this hour. House of Representatives summons Benue Zamfara governors over state security crisis. As the world marks World Press Freedom Day, there are calls to navigate the rapid integration of artificial intelligence into journalism. Togolese President Faure Gnassingbé sworn in as head of the country's Council of Ministers. Details to come your way shortly. Let's begin with security issues. President Bola Tinubu has pledged enhanced support for the military in its battle against insurgents and armed groups across northern Nigeria. During his visit to Katsina State, his first since the recent spike in violence, the president declared that terrorism, banditry, and insurgency had persisted for too long. He promised better equipment for troops, the deployment of advanced technology, and improved intelligence gathering. In April alone, more than 100 people were killed in attacks.
As your commander-in-chief, I am fully aware of the challenges you face, the sacrifices you are making. We are taking bold steps to equip you with advanced equipment, necessary technological advancement, superior intelligence, and robust logistical support, not only to defend this nation, but to dominate and defeat every adversary. The fight you are waging here in Katsina and all over the country, it's not just a battle for territory, it is a battle for the soul of Nigeria. Your resilience, your courage in the face of danger inspires the entire nation. Your sacrifices do not go unnoticed. Nigerians are counting on you to end this menace and reclaim every inch of our country. Let me hear you loudly. Are you ready? Are you committed? Ending this security once and for all. I am with you. Let your resolve echo through every valley, every forest. Let the enemies of Nigeria know their time is up.
And away from that, the House of Representatives Committee on Public Petitions has summoned the governors of Benue and Zamfara states, Hyacinth Alia and Dauda Lawal, along with their respective state assemblies in respect to escalating insecurity in the two states. The summons follow the petition from civil rights group Guardians of Democracy and Rule of Law, which called on the House to assume the constitutional responsibilities of both state assemblies, citing a failure to address the deteriorating security situation. The parties have been scheduled to appear before the committee on Thursday, May 8, to defend their roles in addressing the crisis. Committee Chairman Mike Eteba signed the summons, stating that the parties are fully aware of the issues at hand. He added that the committee's objective is to uphold the rule of law and promotes transparency in the handling of threats to public safety. Now, suspended Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has returned to Nigeria following a 2-week vacation abroad. He arrived at Port Harcourt International Airport around 7 p.m. on Friday, where he was received by a handful of aides, as seen in a widely circulated video online. The governor was promptly ushered into a waiting SUV, which departed the airport without delay. There has been no official statement regarding his return or the current status of his suspension. During his time away, Fubara reportedly held a closed-door meeting with President Bola Tinubu in London. Meanwhile, hundreds of women in Rivers State staged a dramatic walkout during an empowerment event where First Lady Remi Tinubu was expected to speak and distribute support items. The event, part of the Renewed Hope Initiative Empowerment Tour, led by the First Lady, was held in Port Harcourt. Tensions rose when the wife of the sole administrator of Rivers State, Ibok Ibas, attempted to address the gathering. The women, visibly upset, walked out in protest. A viral video from the event showed the women exiting the venue in unison, calling on President Bola Tinubu to reinstate Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Anyway, from that to human capital development. As part of efforts to expand economic opportunities for women, the wife of Nigeria's President Oluremi Tinubu has empowered 500 disadvantaged women in Delta State with essential business tools. Represented by the wife of the Deputy Governor, Catherine Onyeme, Tinubu said the initiative, carried out through the Renewed Hope Initiative in collaboration with the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, aims to uplift livelihoods and contribute to national development. The empowerment event, held at the Cenotaph in Asaba, the Delta State capital, saw beneficiaries receive items including deep freezers, gas cookers with ovens, grinding machines, and generators. And now, as the world marks World Press Freedom Day, this year's theme, Time to Put AI on the Social Agenda, resonates along strongly with the journalists navigating the rapid integration of artificial intelligence into their profession. The focus on putting AI on the social agenda sheds light on the increasingly complex relationship between technology and journalism. News Central's Ibalaniyi Omoniyi reports.
In the years past, journalists relied solely on their creative and investigative skills to craft stories. But with the emergence of AI, the media landscape has changed dramatically. AI tools can now generate stories, analyze data, and produce content at unprecedented speed. While some view these as a breakthrough for efficiency and productivity, others are concerned it may erode the human touch that defines quality journalism.
AI cannot take my job. AI doesn't have the emotions, doesn't have the nitty-gritty, doesn't really understand the ethics of this profession.
On the other hand, many journalists see AI as a valuable tool to enhance their work. By automating routine tasks, AI allows reporters to devote more time to in-depth, investigative, and nuanced storytelling.
I sent AI on an errand to help me write something. I look at it, I check it out as well, and I make use of it. AI is a tool that I use often in my work. It makes my work easier and faster.
Apart from helping us to improve our work, it can enhance your editorial judgment. If you are a well-trained journalist, you begin to see, other side of issues, because sometimes you're unable to think through things, in a comprehensive fashion. You have an idea of what you want, but you're unable to put a finger to it.
However, one of the key challenges of AI in journalism is bias. Since AI systems are trained on existing data, they risk reflecting or even reinforcing biases embedded in that data. To counter these, integrating AI literacy into journalism training is becoming increasingly vital. In today's digital age, the journalist's role is evolving. While anyone can use AI to generate content, professional journalists contribute essential qualities such as ethical judgment, critical thinking, and editorial integrity that machines cannot replicate.
Well, I understand what is being said when we talk about fear, and you can really relate that fear to this aspect of doing things the ethical way. But I think at the end of the day, we probably have to look inwards and take a decision as to how we want to approach the work that we're doing. and what result we want to come out with.
It is very possible to run an entire newsroom solely with AI. And let's say, for example, in best case scenario, you have, say, for example, fact checking, maybe a system that prioritizes all the stories that are coming in from all the streams, can check and decide what works best at what time. It can be very efficient, from the actual presenters or newscasters who are AI generated to the lifelike audio that we can get now. It is possible, but we could decide as a people and say that we want to see to it that there's a balance.
As we commemorate World Press Freedom Day, it's evident that AI presents both opportunities and challenges for the media. By embracing AI education and learning to use these tools responsibly, journalists can elevate their work while safeguarding the core values of their profession. In Lagos for News Central, Igbalani Omoni.
Well, to discuss this further, we're joined by the Director, Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development, Akintunde Babatunde, and he joins me from Washington, D.C., USA. Thank you so much for coming around.
Thank you very much for having me.
Just as the report shows, there have been speculations around artificial intelligence replacing humans at workplaces. And though it has come to stay, how can the industry ensure it doesn't lead to job losses and it doesn't compromise editorial independence?
Thanks very much. And I think it's very exciting to see mixed reactions from colleagues about the role that artificial intelligence would play in the profession. And I think it's just better for us to, to say that generative AI, artificial intelligence has been with us for the longest time, since the early 1950s, right? But what we have today with the advent of ChatGPT, Gemini and the likes, the generative AI. So just to say that it depends on the way we're looking at it. The kind of tool that journalism use to track audience, to look at the demography of readers and listeners, that's artificial intelligence, in its form, in that form. So that's one way. Another way to think about it is when we talk about generative AI, that, the buzz that we have in the last 3-4 years with the launch of OpenAI, ChatGPT, and many other models. I think that if we look at it very carefully, we would understand that what powers ChatGPT and the likes, it's prompt engineering, right? When you ask ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity any question, it generates for you, textual content or audio, textual content. And when you look at how this textual content comes to being, this is as a result of the data that it was trained on. If you look again at the breakdown of the data that they used to train this model, a large percentage of this data set were from web crawls. And that is where, work that journalists have done, published articles, they are part of the data that powers, generative AI. And so that tells you that journalism is not just adopting artificial intelligence, generative AI into this world. Journalism is powering it. It's the work that journalists do day in, day out that becomes content used to train these models. While that is, an important way to think about it, it's then also important for journalists to think about the fact that we are in the era of routine reports, press statement is over. We leave that to the bots. We leave that to ChatGPT to do. Now is the time to think about how would artificial intelligence not take my job, and how would my job power the infrastructure that makes artificial intelligence, relevant. And that is where journalists need to start thinking about the way that they do the job. Now we need more than ever critical analytical reports, human angle reports that are, heavily researched, rigorous research that would then be difficult to replicate. For instance, imagine a journalist going to a community to report what community members are facing. That is not what generative AI could do. But generative AI could help you to, transcribe this recording. Many times, journalists spend hours trying to transcribe. Now, generative AI tool could help you transcribe, to text to do your work. But the major work in there, which is the routine, rigorous research, you would have done it yourself.
Okay, so that would probably mean it cannot erode the value of human intervention, either as a journalist or in other endeavor.
Absolutely, absolutely. What makes journalism different from any form of writing is the evidential, the evidence that powers, the work. It is more about the ethics that powers the work.
Okay.
So journalism, is driven by ethics. And if that is done well, then generative AI could only make it better, not take the jobs of journalists.
Okay, so for those who are not really in tune in terms of being educated on the benefits or the potentiality of AI, what strategies can they or maybe media organizations implement to upskill reporters and, of course, integrate AI ethically now without widening unemployment gaps?
I think it's important for us to remember that generative AI adoption is not a matter of I will or I will not. We if you don't, then you're left behind. And that's why it's important for journalists, media professionals to be open-minded about it. The early days of digital disruption, there were a lot of apprehension at the time that led to the media being left behind. But right now, it's an opportunity for journalists to be on it. And one way to think about it is to do a lot of reading. A lot of research have been published that explains how this is going to work. Then it's also important for journalists to, for instance, at the Center for Journalism Innovation and Development, we've developed a lot of, articles. We've developed a lot of local models. We've also recently launched an artificial intelligence fellowship where journalists can learn through, how to understand how AI works. We've had convenings, and there are several other opportunities that journalism organizations globally are, bringing around for journalists, in Nigeria and Africa to be a part of. So
Okay.
I think journalists should, at this point, be open-minded, research on all of these opportunities, be a part of it, learn how it works,
Okay.
and how journalism powers it, and then they can take the best out of it.
All right, but you will agree with me that AI-driven algorithms can be inaccurate sometimes and probably amplify misinformation. So can journalists still rely on and even leverage the technology to combat false narratives?
Absolutely. I think for every tool out there, for every tool out there, whether AI tools or any other kind of tool, there are always downsides to it. So there are always bad actors waiting to deploy it for their own agenda, right? For instance, as generative AI has helped, in automating processes to make editorial workflow better, we've also seen, increase in the use of these tools for surveillance. We've seen increase in the use of these for deepfake and proliferation of disinformation. So what artificial intelligence could do is, for instance, journalists then have access to be able to analyze large data sets in far, expanded ways more than ever. That's one way. Another way is that, for instance, at CJID, we've launched a audio tool that can help journalists track this information in audio format. And that's unprecedented. That kind of tool helps you to, to track what's happening on radio, live, get audio transcripts, into Nigerian English, into Ghanaian English, into Nigerian Pidgin. That level of scale to be able to deal with this information is unprecedented. And I think that, we have a lot of other tools that helps to turn large data sets, spreadsheets. The Nobia AI, for instance, turns spreadsheets. You could upload a spreadsheet and it could help you turn into stories, right? So we have a lot of ways that artificial intelligence can be used to deal with, to tackle disinformation. It's just better for us to learn how this works and be open-minded in deploying them to improve our workflow.
Okay, so aside these things that you've mentioned, would you still advocate for stricter media regulation, whether or not AI is deployed to actually curb fake news?
I think that when we talk about stricter media regulation, it's important for us to be contextual about it. Is there need for us to develop a robust governance framework? Because they're different. A robust governance framework that guides ethical deployment, safety adoption is a totally different thing from stricter regulation. You can't regulate what you don't own. The generative AI tools that we have here, we don't own them. So it's difficult for you to regulate. But you can develop governance framework that give clear guidelines on responsible AI development, responsible data that trains model and responsible adoption. And I think for that, that is that important conversation that we should start from. And you know, Nigeria is not doing very badly. You know, we have the Nigeria AI strategy. The CGID is a part of the Nigerian AI collective. That's the, you know, the collective that continues to ensure that artificial intelligence deployment in Nigeria is ethically deployed, responsibly adopted, and also used for, you know, economic development in the digital economy. So I think that when we talk about regulating artificial intelligence, you know, it's more about the governance of it. When we talk about stricter media regulation, it's more about developing clear framework that places accountability on the actors and the platforms that enables this disinformation or other harmful content to thrive. Because when you talk about disinformation, you talk about the actors, you talk about the behavior, you talk about the content, and you talk about the distribution platform. So I think that each of the actors in there, we need very clear governance framework that helps us to deal with the harmful content on the platform. So it's pretty much more, an expanded governance framework to make artificial intelligence adoption safer and responsible.
All right, Akintunde Babatunde, thank you so much for sharing your ideas with us on the news. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's go on a break on the news. When we return, factional leader of the National Association of Nigerian Students, Oladoja, accuses Issa of smear campaign, calls allegations baseless. We'll tell you more when we return. Join us again. Many thanks for staying with us. It's day 7 of the annual Ovia Osheshe Festival, a significant cultural event that honors the transition of young girls into womanhood and fosters communal unity. Held 2 weeks after Easter, the week-long festival attracts Ogori indigents from across the globe to the Ogori-Magongo local government area. It is widely recognized as a vibrant expression of the community's cultural identity. At the heart of the celebration is the initiation of teenage girls required to be virgins into womanhood. Under the guidance of an elder woman, the initiates receive teachings on moral conduct, marital responsibilities, and cultural traditions. Dressed in traditional attire, the girls are then formally introduced to the community through the symbolic Oke dance. But beyond the initiative, the festival also features sporting events, cultural performances, and beauty pageants, making it a colorful and unifying occasion. Now, News Central's Blessings Musugu joins us from Kogi State for more on this. Blessings, it's nice to have you around. How significant is this festival to the people and the communities involved?
Thank you so much for having me. If you can hear me, the OVL Sese Festival, as you can see, is the biggest festival in Ogori land, and people are excited to be here. Now, I'm with some of our visitors. They're clearly not from the land, but they had such an experience, and I want to quickly find out what their experiences were. Hello. So how was your experience?
So beautiful. Tanimu, I've learned this. I've learned so many things, and then the Eriba, the one they had, the Eve before the Ovia, is so awesome and beautiful.
Great, thank you. How about you?
They have a very beautiful cultural heritage and a very colorful one for that matter.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a beautiful heritage, an amazing one, particularly the Ovia itself while we're here, and then the Ereba, and lots more.
All right, thank you so much, ladies. So as you can see, the Ogori Ovia Festival is very welcoming to not just the people of Ogori, but the environs. I also have the wife of the president of the Ogori Descendants Union with me. I want her to tell us the importance of the Ogori Ovia Festival. You look gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you. So how important is the Ovia Festival to the people of Ogori?
Well, it signifies purity for the girls. Of course, it's an instant. So girls have to be pure before they become women. So it's a celebration of purity and to encourage the girls to stay pure until marriage.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so you heard it. The is a festival is an amazing one that has been on for a while. Today was the arena experience. The maidens had danced, and then they have the younger ones who also danced in front of them. They're called the future. We also had the governor say earlier on, he gave a speech and, emphasized that he would be glad to be a part of such an initiative. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Blessings Musugu, for bringing us these colorful events and the messages that go along with it. We appreciate that. Let's move on now. The National Association of Nigerian Students, led by Comrade Olushola Oladoja, has debunked allegations of harassment, assault, and death threats leveled against it by Atiku Issa, who also claims leadership of the Apex Students Union body in Nigeria. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, Oladoja described Issa's accusations as an orchestrated smear campaign designed to sow discord within NANS and tarnish the reputation of Seyi Tinubu, son of Nigeria's president. He further accused Issa of associating closely with opposition politicians and described his claims to the NANS presidency as illegitimate.
27th, 2025, at Old Parade Ground here in Abuja, Nigerian students conducted a transparent, free and fair election. Duly elected myself, Comrade Olushola Oladoja, as the national president of NANS, alongside a complete executive council. Atiku Issa, in contrast, operates alone, with no elected executive council to support his self-proclaimed presidency. His claim to leadership is illegitimate, and we challenge him to seek redress in the court of law if he disputes the outcome of our democratic process. Atiku Issa Abubakar allegation against Seyi Tinubu, accusing him of an orchestrated harassment of assault, are entirely fabricated. This claim lacks any variable details, no dates, no location, or credible witness has been provided.
Now I'll tell you that the Federal Capital Territory caucus of the Social Democratic Party has called for an immediate cancellation of the ongoing FCT chapter executive election of the party over alleged irregularities. The demand was made during a protest in Abuja at the SDP Secretariat, where aggrieved party members voiced their frustrations. The FCT Publicity Secretary of the SDP, Tayo Jo, while addressing journalists, says that the group has officially petitioned the party's national chairman, Shehu Gabam.
For three things. One is that this Congress should be immediately suspended and cancelled in view of the irregularities we have observed. Two, there is absence of notice of Congress of election, which our Constitution clearly states must be done 7 days before a Congress is held. Today, they said they have done the Congress, but we have not seen. Three, there is a level of disenfranchisement of we, the old members, and the real members of the party. I am here with the party registers for FCT. As you can all see, all the people that are calling themselves Kangaroo Caretaker Committee now, they are not even registered members of this party. And we will not allow that stand, because Nigerian party is for, this party is for everybody, not for an exclusive right of anybody. Exactly. We have been here, and you can see, these are my people. Some of them are ward chairmen, some of them are caucus leaders, some of them are, this is Hamad chairman, this is Gui Ward, this is Kabusa, this is Buhari, and this is Gui. They are all here because they never heard about the Congress that is going on. So we are asking our honorable chairman now, Alhaji Shehu Gabam, to use his very good office to stop this illegality going, so that the party does not go into a crisis that is not necessary for a party that is planning to win an election.
Talking agriculture now, the federal government has announced the allocation of over 100,000 hectares of land for grazing under the National Livestock Transformation Plan. The Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mukhtar Meha, made the announcement during a working visit to Wase, Plateau State. He also paid a condolence visit to the state governor over recent attacks in the region. We have more in this report.
In a renewed effort to tackle grazing challenges across Nigeria's Middle Belt, the federal government has launched a major phase of the National Livestock Transformation Plan in Plateau State. During a visit to the Wase Grazing Reserve, the Minister of Livestock and Development, Idi Mukhtar Meha, revealed that over 100,000 hectares of land will be utilized to support livestock farming. The minister, who toured the reserve, engaged with stakeholders and outlined plans to develop key infrastructure, including schools, hospitals and water facilities, all aimed at improving the quality of life for breeders and local communities.
Here today we are in Wase local government at Wase Grazing Reserve, Plateau State, to launch the first pilot scheme to demonstrate that this is doable under the Renewable Hope agenda of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Here we have come with a model that encompasses, apart from the housing for the families of the herders, there is also going to be massive cultivation of pasture. There will be a lot of development of earth dams for dry season irrigation of pasture, so that when the animals are here, they would have no reason to leave this place for purposes of looking for greener pasture.
Earlier, the minister paid a courtesy visit to Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang, where he offered his condolences over the recent killings in parts of the state.
I think this is a wonderful idea whose time has come. Let me thank Mr. President. When he took this initiative to create the Ministry of Livestock Development, many people had misgivings about it. But today, with what you have unveiled, it shows to us a clear roadmap that not only are we going to boost our economy and GDP, we're going to create employment, we're going to develop opportunities for entrepreneurs. The value chain around livestock is so massive.
It's a pleasure to be here, Your Excellency. I've come here, one, as a courtesy call for the good government and people of Plateau State, as well as to condole the governor, the government, and good people of Plateau State over the last incidents that have happened in our beautiful state.
With implementation underway, authorities are hopeful that the program will not only reduce conflicts between herders and farmers, but also boost livestock productivity and rural development.
Coming up on the news, Sierra Leone records 1,140 cases of Mpox, 9 deaths in 2025. We'll bring you more details when we return. Join us again. From other parts of Africa, we tell you that Togolese President Faure Gnassingbé was sworn in on Saturday as the president of the country's Council of Ministers after being appointed by the National Assembly, which is dominated by his political party, the Union for the Republic. In May 2024, Togo's constitutional amendment came into effect, formally switching the country from a semi-presidential to a parliamentary system. Under the new constitution, the president of Togo will be elected by parliament in a largely ceremonial role for a 4-year term, renewable once.
Détenteurs de la souveraineté nationale, nous, Faure Gnassingbé, président du Conseil désigné conformément aux lois de la République, jurons solennellement de respecter et de défendre la Constitution que la République togolaise s'est librement donnée, serviteur du peuple, de défense de la patrie, de son intégrité territoriale et que par l'intérêt général et le respect des droits de la personne.
Sierra Leone's Ministry of Health says the West African nation is battling a fresh surge of Mpox infections with 1,140 cases and 9 deaths reported since the beginning of the year. The government declared a public health emergency in January to tackle the outbreak. As of last week, the death toll stood at 6, with 763 confirmed cases. The capital, Freetown, has recorded the highest number of infections. In response, Sierra Leone launched a vaccination campaign in April, prioritizing children aged 12 and above, high-risk groups, and healthcare workers. The World Health Organization has also provided 61,300 vaccine doses. 4 treatment centers have also been established in Freetown to manage the outbreak.
Sierra Leone proudly stands as a beacon of progress in the fight for equitable vaccine access. Our national immunization coverage has consistently improved, and we have made significant gains in reducing childhood mortality and preventing vaccine-preventable disease.
Now, a South African court on Friday found a woman guilty of trafficking her 6-year-old daughter, who has been missing for more than a year, in a case that has outraged the nation. The 2-month trial heard statements from various witnesses that Raquel Kelly Smith had revealed to them that she had sold her daughter, Jocelyn, in January 2024, including claims she was paid 20,000 rand, equivalent to $1,085. Judge Nathan Erasmus said the evidence of 35 state witnesses led him to find that Smith, 35 years, and her 2 co-accused, a boyfriend and a mutual friend, were guilty on the charges of human trafficking and kidnapping.
Succeeded in improving the views of Mr. Paulus and the names on the main account.
Because my grandchild is still missing. I don't know where my grandchild is. I just want my grandchild back. So there's nothing else. I just want my grandchild back. It doesn't matter how long they are going to sit in jail, but my grandchild is still gone.
Still ahead of the news. Catholic cardinals gather for 9th General Congregation ahead of Papal Conclave. We'll bring you details of this and other stories in a short while. Don't go away. Outside of the African continent, Reporters Without Borders has expressed deep concern over the state of global press freedom, warning of an alarming deterioration in the United States under President Donald Trump and increasing challenges faced by independent journalists worldwide. In its annual report, the Paris-based media rights organization revealed that its Global Press Freedom Index has reached its lowest level since inception. For the first time in the index's history, half of the world's countries now offer poor conditions for journalism, while fewer than 1 in 4 provide what ISF describes as satisfactory conditions. ISF's editorial director, Anne Bokande, highlighted the financial strain on media organizations, noting that many outlets have shut down due to lack of funding. In the Vatican, Catholic cardinals have gathered for the 9th General Congregation following the death of Pope Francis, as final preparations are underway for the conclave to elect a successor. The closed-door meetings are being held to discuss the current state of the Church, global challenges, and to reflect on the legacy of Pope Francis. They also serve as a time for cardinals to get to know one another ahead of the conclave, which officially begins Wednesday, May 7. Cardinals under the age of 80 will enter the Sistine Chapel next week to cast their votes in secrecy, choosing the 267th successor to Saint Peter. We talk sports now. Abia State has inaugurated the main and local organizing committees for the 2025 Africa Para Badminton Championships and the first Abia International Para Badminton Championship. The events are scheduled for September 30 to October 12 in Umuahia. The inauguration took place at the Government House with Deputy Governor Ikechukwu Metu presiding. President of the Badminton Federation of Nigeria, Francis Obi, commended Governor Alex Oti for investing in sports and assured technical support. He praised the selected venue's ongoing renovations after a facility inspection, urging committee members to maintain high standards, emphasizing the event's potential to boost Abia's economy and visibility while inspiring para-athletes across Africa. Now, Crystal Palace star Eberechi Eze followed up his FA Cup semi-final success with another victory, winning the chess.com PokeChamps Amateur Tournament. The 26-year-old England midfielder defeated American YouTuber Sapnap 2-0 in the final, streamed live on Twitch, earning $20,000 from the $100,000 prize pool. The tournament featured 12 celebrity athletes and content creators. Eze began playing chess after being taught by former teammate Michael Olise and developed his skills by studying online. On the pitch, Eze has recorded 9 goals and 11 assists in 38 appearances this season. He will aim to help Palace secure their first major trophy in the FA Cup final against Manchester City on May 17 at the Wembley Stadium. Away from that, Chilean footballer Arturo Vidal has been cleared of sexual assault allegations linked to a nightclub party in Santiago. Prosecutors confirmed on Friday. The complaint stemmed from a November 4 birthday celebration involving Vidal and other Colo-Colo players. According to authorities, the investigation found no evidence supporting the claim against the 37-year-old midfielder. The prosecutor said that they reconstructed the events and concluded that charges could not be upheld. While Vidal is no longer under suspicion, the investigation into other unnamed players from the team continues. To Asian Champions League, Al Hilal have parted ways with Portuguese coach Jorge Jesus following their 3-1 defeat to Al Ahly in the Asian Champions League semi-finals. The decision, announced on Saturday, ends Jesus' second stint with the Riyadh-based club, whom he rejoined in 2023. Mohamed Al Shalhoub has been appointed interim head coach. Al Hilal, 6 points behind Al Ittihad in the Saudi Pro League title race, are set to compete at the expanded Club World Cup in the US this summer. Jesus previously managed top clubs in Portugal, Brazil and Turkey. Al Hilal's high-profile squad includes Alexander Mitrovic and João Cancelo. The club announced the contract termination on social media, citing mutual agreements. And that's all at this hour, but before we go, we'll look at our major stories again. House of Representatives has summoned Benue Zamfara governors over state security crisis. As the world marks World Press Freedom Day, there are calls to navigate the rapid integration of artificial intelligence into journalism. We also told you that Togolese President Faure Gnassingbé has been sworn in as head of the country's Council of Ministers. Don't forget to send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen, and you can follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Do watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.